one of the ones where my spirit, Ariel, is getting impatient because I've promised that I will free her, and she thinks that she has done enough hard work for me to set her free now. And I talk about the circumstances under which I found her when I first came to the island, and I say, "Hast thou forgot the foul witch Sycorax, who with age and envy was grown into a hoop? Thou, my slave, as thou reportest thyself, wast then her servant. And for there was a spirit too delicate to act her earthy and abhorrent commands, refusing her grand hests, she did confine thee into a cloven pine, within which rift imprisoned thou didst painfully remain 12 years, within which space she died, and left thee there, where thou didst vent thy groans as fast as mill wheels strike." I'm Jim Pickering. I'm going to play Prospero. I started really in theater when I was about 10, which was about 52 years ago. And first play I was ever in, I realized that I was standing in the light talking and everybody else was sitting in the dark and had to be quiet and listen, and it was like heroin. Previously to this, well, one of the favorites is one I've played 12 times for the Milwaukee Rep, and now Ebenezer Scrooge and The Christmas Carol that we do every season. Other ones are one I played last season, a blind man named Richard Harkin in a play called The Seafarer by Connor McPherson. Governor Danforth in Crucible. Niels Bohr in Copenhagen. Dave Moss in Glengarry Glen Ross by David Mamet. I've played a lot of parts, and I'm really fond of a lot of them, so it's kind of a tough question to answer. Well, Prospero is a man who was once the Duke of a duchy in Italy, and he and his daughter were banished from the kingdom in a hostile takeover, and they were set on board a leaky little boat and cast adrift in the sea. And Prospero has been studying all his life. He's been studying what he refers to as the liberal arts, which are not really the liberal arts as are necessarily practiced by Alverno College, but are perhaps a bit more mysterious. And through a great stroke of luck, and with the help of one of his friends who has provided him with food and clothing and so forth, he lands on a desert island, and he stays there for 12 years, practicing his arts. And at one point, all of the people who mistreated him and his daughter are on the voyage home from a family wedding, and they happen to run into a little low-pressure system, a Tempest, which it turns out was of Prospero's own creation, and they are shipwrecked on that island. And Prospero wants to get back home. He wants to resume his position as the Duke, and he wants to get his daughter married. And that's sort of where the stuff begins with Tempest. Well, I just read it and read it and read it. I try to think about the time in history in which the play is set, to find out how people of that time behave. Kind of lucky, because anything over the last 90 years or so, there is film, there's documentary film, how people dressed, how people walked, how people talked. But it's mostly reading and reading and reading the play, reading and reading and reading the part, to find out psychologically what it is the character wants, what comes between him and getting what he wants, and what his view of the world is from where he sits and his circumstances, and how old he is, and all that stuff. So I can't say that there's any distinct approach and all that, but all of that goes into it. Oh, that's impossible to say. I mean, I just, there's so much cool stuff in it. I just love the different ways that Prospero deals with the people that he's with, some of whom are real and some of whom are spirits. I love the scene where the court jester Trinculo and the monster Caliban and the drunken butler Stefano first get together when first of all Trinculo mistakes Caliban for a fish, and then Stefano sees the two of them underneath like a tarp and thinks that they're both of them are one creature with 4 legs and 2 heads and stuff like that. And I think that's really cool. In this particular production, where we have the tribe, I'm sure you've heard about the tribe. I love interacting with the tribe and seeing what they're doing and talking to them, because they're mine and Ariel's servants in a way. They're strange shapes, they're elves, they are in fact the storm itself. So, all of it. Well, I'm looking forward to it being something brand new for its audience, and I'm looking forward to them really enjoying the experience of seeing this play the way we're doing it under the circumstances that we're doing it. Well, I can tell you what I hope. Why I hope they will come and see it. Because I believe in its simplicity and in the fierceness of this production. Shakespeare is like a bell. It's like a big church bell, or a big bell in City Hall, or something like that. And it's a bell that has to be rung periodically. And if a bell gets rung, it means that someone is hearing it. And I think that this is a great opportunity for people to hear the Shakespeare bell rung once again. It would be a great thing to get this Shakespeare theater started, this Shakespeare in the Park, for our community, for Milwaukee, because I think that people will really get a kick out of it, and they will find Shakespeare not to be dusty, dingy, and boring, but to be exciting and funny and sexy and moving all at the same time.